Hi guys, welcome back to the ranch. I was talking to my wife and she was mentioning that I should give a little bit of background on myself. And I said also in another one that I would do that. So what I have done with my life is I've done martial arts and horses and ranching. And something I really enjoy. I'm into martial arts, and I'll do a whole one on that, but how I got into the Hall of Fame and the Masters Hall of Fame and my background and my family's background with Elvis Presley, the late Elvis Presley, and all of that stuff. But today I thought I'd go over some of the horses and some of that background so you guys that are following understand my background and where I'm coming from when I'm training. So where will I start? Oh, thank you guys for the prayers, and with County went really well, and we love that. We started out, my wife and I, with a 2,500 square foot house on 2.5 acres. And we wanted, as we got a little older, to be able to retire into something else. And we're constantly giving back. I've done endless charities and so on with the martial arts and with clinics with horses. So we decided that we would sell our property and we would buy a bigger property that we have now, but we didn't have a house. We don't have a house on it. We're off grid, but we're in the process of doing that, and that's where we get into county and the different steps they make you jump through. So that is going very well, and we're excited about that. One of the things that we want to do after we sold that ranch and came here is to be able to put in a barn/studio where we can have people. I've taught and done so much throughout Europe and America on the martial arts that we can have a barn/studio that people could come out here and learn, about grown trees, tractors, gardening, putting on clinics with horses, putting on martial arts training, and having all of those people come out and perhaps even stay for several weeks. So that's the end goal on it. It's a work in progress, and we're not stopping doing what we're doing, waiting on a house. What we are doing is moving the property along. We've put in arenas and all kinds of stuff, over 100 trees and roads and gradings. Well, not gradings, but where we cleaned up the property and keep that moving along. So that's the end goal there. So make sure that you take the time out to like and subscribe, because what we want to be able to do is to get our videos out to the algorithm and be able to get commercials, which will also help with monies coming in off of the commercials to be able to put on clinics and do what we just talked about, having people come out and stay. So please follow through with that. Right now we have 100% returns, which is unheard of, but we only have 5% that are subscribing. So remember, don't be a dozy hole and subscribe. Okay, I'll leave that alone. Anyhow, what ended up happening to me, and I talk about this real briefly, a few years back, that I started having a lot of problems with my joints, and it got to the point where if I was getting into a car, I'd have to sit on the side of the seat and lift each leg in. Then I ended up on walking sticks, and I could probably walk, I don't know, 40, 60 steps at the worst of this. So that was very disheartening because it's taken away all of our dreams, me not being able to get out and get things done, and the sacrifices that my poor wife has made in order to live our dream. But what has happened now of recent is that I've discovered that I have inflammation of all the joints. So with some herbs, and I'm not recommending anything, I'm just telling you my story. With herbs and changing my diet, it's been a real help. I've gotten onto that carnivore diet, and I've came from 284 pounds. I'm currently down to 233 pounds. So that's a big loss of weight, which has been helping a whole lot. And now I'm getting around where I can do walks. I can, I was doing stuff constantly, but I'd have to be on the tractor. I couldn't do a whole lot physically without the tractor. So it's a really great to be able to get around and move again. So I thought if the good Lord would give me that ability, what I would do is I would put a system together where there's people that might be restarting their horse and they're a little older and they're a little scared of getting up and riding and so on. And then there's the other people that are starting colts and whatnot and want to move right along. So I've put a program together, and we're up to stage 4. It's we've gotten 1 through 4, and I'll put out some more this week on that, where it allows you to do a lot of groundwork and combined the friendship with your horse and move the horse along. So those that don't want to get on at this point can do some driving. They can do lots of other things that I have in there. I've also taken into consideration those people that would like to move their horse along and go, hey, you know what, this is a little bit too slow for me. So I've done both. So whatever suits you as you're moving along, that's what we're doing with 1 through 10, and we're up to number 4. So I'll get on that tomorrow and get that moving. There's another thing that I'm going to be doing is doing some martial arts where I'll do different techniques and whatnot. There's a lot of people that have followed us for years that would like to see some of our Campo and our Judo and Jiu-Jitsu and so on and so forth. And that one is going to be called GM Conway's Corner. So when you see that up on our page, that's going to relate to martial arts. And again, I'll get back into being in the Masters Hall of Fame and the Hall of Fame itself, being inducted into that on another video with the martial arts. So, trying to live our dream here with getting this ranch working and leaving our comfort of a 2,500 square foot home ranch, and now we're living off grid. So there's just me and my wife, and God bless her, she's very supportive. My son, as most of you know, has passed away. Rest in peace. So that's another story within itself. So I'll move along here and give you a little bit of background on some of the stuff that we have done. Let's see what we have. Oh, this ranch here is 10 acres, but we have thousands of acres behind us that we have access to. So that makes it a lot of fun to get out. Another thing with our horse training is what we like to do is not only get our horse that is riding real well, it's great for the trails, it's good for roping, it's good for packing, and we also do team-ups and cart riding. So the training will cover all of those three, one being saddled and riding on the trails, two will be working with packing. I've done a lot of packing in the mountains, and three will be cart work, which is driving, pulling a cart. Even though there will be some horses that are not suited for the cart, I do like to put them through the training. It just makes them a lot stronger on that. So my background on horses started out in Dublin, Ireland. As a kid, I worked with big draft horses and going through the streets of Dublin selling logs, coal, and turf. And then at the end of the day, we got to ride the draft horses back up into the fields. So that was a big eye-opener and something that I really enjoyed and loved. Another thing that we did was trotters, pacers, and the sulky cart. So the guys would use the trotters and pacers, which is a movement that some horses make under sulkies, which is a cart, and they would race them in Portmarnock on Sundays. So I would get to do a lot with that also. Then in the summertime, I would go down to Mr. William Maxwell, which ran a bed and breakfast in Ireland in Streamstown, Mullingar. And I got the opportunity to start some donkeys for him, and that was around the first time I got to start some animals. And what I was allowed to do was to take the guests out through the meadows and the bogs, and got to be very careful in the bogs, but just trail riding, and be in charge of the horses and doing a lot of grooming and just basically learning. Then when I came out to the United States, I came under a gentleman called, and by the way, in Ireland what we did a lot of too was racing the ponies, and I got to win a couple of championships on that, so that was very exciting. Another thing was when I came out to the United States, I got with a gentleman called Porter Willis, and he came out of Cow Polly, and he was a horseshoer, rancher, packer, did a lot of working cow horses, and I got to be sanctioned under him as a horseshoer after quite a few years working with him. So I have an extensive background in horseshoeing as well. And then I got to go and work on the Buckeye Ranch starting colts. And the colts that I would start, they went on to become working cow horses in competition with a gentleman called Doug Williamson out of Bakersfield, and went on to win the Snaffle Bit Viturity. So that was a highlight for us. It's a hard competition to win. And then, starting those colts was an eye-opener, and I'll go through that in the round pen tomorrow on some of ways of getting them started. And then we had there was a time where a lot of people would go out and they would adopt Mustangs. So I couldn't even tell you how many Mustangs that I've started for people and for ourselves. I also went on to work crowd control for the LAPD officers that had horses that they wanted to put in crowd control. I got to spend a lot of time on that. Also worked at the stable ranch with it's a movie ranch, and did a lot of commercials and movies and so on with team ups and stunts, and a lot of horse work there as well. And I did a lot of hunter jumpers, taking horses from the track and getting them where we can get a nice stop on them, because as you know, the race horses, they just want to go, go, go. So one of the hard things is to get them where they have some brakes and can flex, and that was with Patrick Murphy, that had some of his students connected with the Olympics. So that was a lot of fun working with those as well. Let's see, what else can I elaborate? So that was the LAPD, and then the hunter jumpers, and yeah, I did, which I really like. I like the reining, and I was able to ride for some outfits that had stud horses, and I showed a lot of reining, and that was another great deal. It's something similar. Well, there's a section in it that's similar to the working cow horse. So that was a hell of a lot of fun for me. Thinking about anything else that I might have missed. And there's just so much background on me on working with the horses that I'm sure I've forgotten a whole lot, and I forgot to mention names and stuff like that, so forgive me. I was doing a charity deal that I actually started with another gentleman by the name of John Reel, and that was Hogs and Horses. And it was a charity drive that is done every year with motorcycles and horses. And the money goes to our vets. So that was something I'm very proud of. And a quick side note, I had to, on that, we were doing a commercial where the motorcycles guy in there was in a dream sequence, and in his dream there's a black stallion rearing up, and that's me rearing up that horse. And the motorcycles are on, so we need 20 motorcycles of all these bikers revving up, and then we got this horse with me on it, and I got my cowboy hat up in the air. And in the dream sequence, there's a camel with a genie on it. Well, the camel is having nothing to do with this commercial. So we're trying to figure out how can we get this camel to walk through in front of these motorcycles while I'm doing this big rear up. So the funny part of it is the camel's not cooperating. So I get off my horse and I take this camel, and we were doing this at a restaurant, big restaurant place in Acton, California. So it was an early Saturday morning. I take this camel away from the motorcycles and away from the horses. Now I have this genie that is claddily dressed in this little outfit with breasts hanging out and everything, and I'm walking this camel going down the street. So what I wanted to do was, there was very little traffic being Saturday morning, is walk down the street, clear the camel's mind, and then come back in, jump on my horse, and see if they could just walk the camel through and we'd get the shot. So as I'm walking down the street, one of the bikers that I knew that did not have anything to do with the event that day, he sees me walking down the street with a genie and a camel. And he pulls in. He's not aware that we're doing a commercial. So he just sees Johnny walking down the street with his Irish cap on, a camel, and a genie. And he pulls in, he says, "What the heck are you doing?" And I just looked at him real seriously, and I says, "Yeah, I'm kind of pissed off, man. I ended up losing my truck, but I won the camel and the genie, and I just